start recording, which we're doing, and we're recording in Audacity. Here we go. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 780. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. You can leave me a voicemail message on Skype. The name is Mike Tech Show, all one word. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Mike Tech Show, and also facebook.com/Mike Tech Show. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call, robust remote support for IT pros and MSPs. This software service provides unattended and on-demand remote access. Try it free by clicking on the link on my website at miketechshow.com or go directly to instanthousecall.com. Remember to use the promo code MikeTechShow for your free 15-day trial. Have great show lined up for tonight. Going to talk about business policies I've been working on for a client, laptops, just a whole lot of laptop work, which leads into a scam that happened to one of our clients. Waiting to hear this. I'm going to talk about the Hulu streaming service and a problem I discovered that they confirmed. And it really opens the door for opportunities for a lot of these streaming services that they're going to have to start thinking about. I'm going to talk about iOS 14.5. There's a little feature that I'm looking forward to. More note-taking apps, which, maybe you don't like Evernote. I'm still committed to Evernote. And I'm committed to the older version because you heard me rant about the new version and they took away things that I love. So I'm still stuck on an old version that I still use. And then we're going to talk about clearing the print queue real easy. Have a little script you can download. And we're going to get to email finally. I'm going to catch up on email. So first, policies. I have a client that they audit banks and other institutions. And because of that, and this is a brand new startup, this client, I've got them the security email, which is the Microsoft 365 E3. I have them all set up. Their laptops are all encrypted. We have the proper untangle firewalls at each of their 3 locations. They're only one-man shops, literally, in their home offices, but was able to remotely get everything set up. But now they were onboarding a new client that requires a lot of different policies. And I've had a few clients like this that has had to do this in the past. So we had to write different policies. And let me give you an example. I'm not going to go through the details of every policy, but I'm going to go over the basics. First off, a non-disclosure agreement between me and and my client, but from their perspective, they needed NDAs for any third parties or vendors that they're working with. And they never sent me one, so I used one that I made it very generic from the financial advisors that I have NDAs with, and I took one of them, made it as generic as possible, but used the formatting and the words, and sent that to them. Filled it out for them, had them review it. They made an edit, and then now they have the NDA. But as we started filling out the questionnaire for them to be a vendor for their new client, there was some pretty intense questions that I had to work with them. They had to have an asset management policy. So reporting on all their assets. How are they upgraded? How are they updated? What if something changes? What's the policy and procedure of retiring an asset? So let's say there's a computer system that they use and it's going to be retired. What's the proper policy? Now, I have these things in place with some of my bigger financial advisors. So I took some of the language there and some of the samples I found online and made an asset management policy, password policy. That's very easy, and you can find that online and just edit it to accommodate what they need to be compliant. A vulnerability management policy. This is what are we doing at the perimeter for how are we monitoring? So a lot of that came into what I'm doing with Untangle for intrusion detection, intrusion prevention. So a lot of things got flushed out into that vulnerability management policy. This takes a lot of time writing those policies, and of course all of that's billable. And there were some other ones that we were able to get away with that were not applicable because of just where they're located. It's 3 individual work from home offices. These questions were geared for bigger vendors that they work with. So I was, they don't need a sign-in process for their data center. They don't have a data center. So does this mean one of their kids' friends, when they come into the house, have to sign in? No. So we didn't extend things that far. But it gets you thinking, when you're in this size. So we pushed back a little bit on some of these questions, and he was able to, do that with one of his contacts. And we were able to answer some of those questions not applicable, which was good because it saved some work. But there were a couple things that he had to get. He did not have any cyber insurance policy, which they now have. I say he because I'm working with one of the main contacts of this startup. And he was able to get a cyber insurance policy, and that was a lot of questions. I had to do work with him and getting answers to all of that. The next was their liability insurance. Now, they have business insurance, but they had to up a couple things for errors and omissions, and they had to add a few things that were required by them taking on this new client. And why I'm talking about this is if you're thinking of starting up, doing what I'm doing, or starting a small consulting business or repair business, I recommend only getting the proper insurance when you need it. You have to have it if you have a physical location. I got my business insurance when it was required by a client for me to enter the premises. We were going to be doing some work, and I had to prove that I had my business insurance. And even to this day, I have 5 clients that every time I renew my insurance, they send an update to the contacts. They're on a list automatically. My insurance agent automatically sends these 5 clients proof that I am still insured, because they need that proof every year, or I'm not allowed in the building even. As a matter of fact, some of them, it's the management company of the facility, not even my client. So that's when you need to get serious about the insurance. Yes, day one you should be thinking about it, but I would purchase what I need when I needed it for my client. Here, right out of the box, they needed all of this for one of their first clients. So, but it makes sense because of what they're doing and the high security and sensitivity of the data that they are handling. it just makes sense. So I wanted to share that. That was a lot of last week of what I was working on. Now, I mentioned laptops. My son yesterday and today, he's been working on 6 different laptops. There's been an uptick of people having older laptops that they needed a solid state drive. They needed to get it cleaned up. They've been sitting around, haven't been used in a bit, and now they're dusting them off and putting them into play. So there's been a lot of work on laptops. Yesterday afternoon, my son received a call from one of our clients. It's a break-fix client that we only hear from when there's a problem. And here's the scam that happened to her. She got a call from someone that identified themselves as the company McAfee and the security, and they needed to get it updated. They needed to look at their computer. And this client has been breached multiple times. I have 4 clients, and I've said this in the past, that refuse to listen to us. They're incapable of listening to us. If you've been conned with the same con 4 or 5 times, there's either a learning disability or I don't know what it is, where they can't get it into their head that they allow strangers to remote connect to their system. This happened again to a client. And this time, when they connect it, they did a few things, not even sure what they did yet, because I have to tell you how bad this is. They conned them out of their credit card and put a charge of $300 and some for McAfee. Yeah, that's right. They charged them $300 and some to upgrade McAfee. Then this is when the client finally got suspicious. Once they had that information, they said they accidentally sent her $2,000, and it was a mistake on their part. And rather than them, take another $2,000, they wanted her to go to the store and get gift cards. And she's like, this isn't right, and finally hung up. But before she hung up, they locked her out of her system. They changed her login password. And they probably changed, I think there was only one account there. They changed the password, and the hint for the password is the phone number to call. So of course she's not calling it after now engaging us. So what my son did, he picked up the laptop this morning. We told her first, actually there was 2 accounts, a bank account and the credit card account. And my son counseled her on calling those accounts and getting them stopped, like getting the credit card stopped immediately, issuing a new card, and getting rid of any false transactions and describe what happened. She also has to call her bank. That was taken care of. So she's not going to lose money there. My son picked up the laptop. We're now worried that there's ransomware or something on this. So he had to take out that hard drive and use it on an air-gapped system that we have. So we have a test system that we can blow away. It can get corrupt. It can, and he needed to scan that drive and make sure that we can pull the data from it. As a matter of fact, since it was a mechanical drive anyway, we upsold to get an SSD, and he is actually just finishing now transferring the data from that hard drive, which there was no sign of any infection on that drive, and we're only pulling the data that is required for the client. But she let people remote into her system. And there's Doug in the chat has just said, He has clients that repeatedly fall for remote connection scams, and so do we. Like I said, we have 4 clients. She's one of them that will continuously allow strangers who have used social engineering skills on the phone to con them into remoting in and then taking over their system and doing basically anything they want. And it's disturbing. There's nothing we can do. We don't get excited about it anymore. It is what it is. It's all billable. And, we deal with what the cards we're dealt with, which whatever the situation is, remedy it, make sure we can help them as much as possible, and then move on. So I wanted to share that because it was just another skip. I could do so many hours of the different scams that we have come across, and I'm sure a lot of you can too. So if the stranger, more obscure scam, if you have one and you can write that up for me or even record it as an MP3 and email me, I'll put it on the show because it just gives us more, things we didn't think about. Now this we have, but there are still scams happening that I'm like, my gosh, I never even dreamed that could happen, and they use it. Okay. So I like Hulu for guilty pleasure show. My wife and I like The Handmaid's Tale. And season 4 dropped 3 episodes yesterday. So on my TV, I didn't know it was 3 episodes, and I wanted to sign in. And I have the premium where you don't have to pay, you don't have commercials. So with taxes, it's like $12 a month. And I connect on my Samsung TV right behind me here on the video if you're watching. And it said I can't log in because my location has been changed 4 times. Now, I travel back and forth using Hulu on devices from Pennsylvania and Florida. Now, my wife was just recently in Pennsylvania. You're only limited. Once they discover you're an IP, a different area, you can click OK, but that can only happen 4 times. Well, we hit our 4 times, and I wasn't allowed to use the device. Now, I can log in on the web, on an iPhone, and on an iPad with no limitation. But I called Hulu, talked to an individual that literally said, we don't have a solution for that except you have to have multiple accounts. That's unacceptable. If I'm traveling between multiple states because I'm a snowbird, they should have a plan that accommodates me. There should be a way that maybe I just put in the zip codes, or we put in the internet service provider info, or whatever I need to do to identify me for the 2 states, and I should be allowed to continue. There should be an exception for me, or maybe not a full account. They could get maybe an extra $5 a month out of me. Say, you know what? For that service, we have a multi-state plan, and that's X amount of dollars more per month, but it's not a full second account. I completely disagree with the second account, and I don't like that. And I wanted to bring that up in case you're ever in that situation where you're going to be traveling like that and this happens. I don't think it's fair. I think they need to think out of the box and be able to accommodate all of their customers. I can't be the only one that does that. I'm in an area right here where there are 300-400 families just in my small area that are all snowbirds. And a snowbird is someone that flies south for the winter. That's why they call it a snowbird. I am now a snowbird. This was my first season of a winter that I avoided from being up north, and I couldn't be happier to avoid all that snow and terrible, terrible storms that were happening up north. and it's why I'm here for the winter. So now, is Netflix going to do this? I don't know where we're headed with this, but I was so mad I put in the cancellation for my account, because right now on the Amazon Fire Stick or Samsung TV app, it can only be viewed in Pennsylvania right now, the way it's locked. And they wouldn't even unlock that for me to fix it. So I said, great, let's cancel it. So I'm paid through till May 10th, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to set up a new account and then carefully decide how am I going to view Hulu content. So, and this is another thing. I may not even do that. This is where they force people to look at maybe not quite legal services to get what you want. So maybe some IPTV apps and services out there. They are forcing this. Anyway, wanted to just throw that out there. All right. iOS 14.5. I missed the live, Apple event where what they do is they will go over all of the new product lines that they're upgrading and everything that they want to that they're going to be changing and adding, and the new iPad and the new MacBooks or whatever. But they announced 14.5. It includes an option to unlock your iPhone with Apple Watch while wearing a face mask. Well, what about me, where I don't have an Apple Watch and I have my face mask and I want to unlock it? Bring back the thumbprint. Why did they get rid of that? That's one little annoyance that I have for the annoyance I have for the Apple iOS and the new iPhones. I love my iPhone 12 Pro. Love it. But miss where they should have something in there for thumbprint. Especially now, I'm in a doctor's office where I'm waiting and I have my mask on and I can't open it up and I got to enter my 6-digit code. No. Or I got to pull down my mask so I can verify who I am. No, I don't like that. There should be a fingerprint. So anyway, that's something I want. But here's a feature that they've added. AirTag. This is a way to tag different devices, keys. You can buy these little tags and put them on your key ring or put them on something you want to tag and find. Oh, man. My wife so desperately needs that. And I will just share in that and put it for mine. Me, I put my keys at the same spot every day in both houses. This is where I go. I don't do anything else until I put my wallet, my keys. There are things that I do all the time. My wife? No. It can be a separate spot every single day. She finds a new spot to lose something. So AirTag, I see as a very, very good feature. I can't wait to implement that. And I will be one of the first customers. All right. Let's get to some emails here. And I got two, and this is from CJ. Hello, Mike. I was listening to the show again, 779, and you mentioned Stacks by Google for receipt organizer. What I use is Dropbox on the iPhone. I use it solely for receipt keeping, and I organize by year and by place. So say 2021 folder, then Best Buy receipts folder. Dropbox has a document scanner, and you can save as a PDF, which is what the IRS will only accept. It's pretty easy, and this way I don't have to let Google have any info. Hopefully, this info helps you or a viewer keep up the great work and stay safe. I love that. That's a great suggestion. CJ also has a second email, and this is interesting. I asked in a previous show, boy, I want Fab's auto backup for a Mac. Wouldn't that be cool? Hello, Mike. I was listening to your show recently, and you mentioned you wanted a backup utility for Mac that will transfer settings, apps, etc. Use the built-in migration assistant to go from one system to another. It works over Wi-Fi or hardwired internet, as well as other ways. You can also do a time machine backup, then plug that backup into the new machine, and it will restore all the settings and apps, user accounts, and everything. Now, I have done that. Try Migration Assistant, which I have never used Migration Assistant. The next time you need to transfer someone from one system to another, it works great and will allow you to choose what you transfer. User accounts, settings, apps, and documents. I use it all the time in my business. Keep up the good work. CJ, excellent answer for my problem. Thank you. I really appreciate that. This is from Anthony. Hello, Mike. I recently started to have various different make models of HP printers just start to error out at 2 different offices. They don't share the same network at all. Each one is a different model and will show different errors or no errors, and all the lights on it will start blinking and just say, you need to restart. I messed around with them for a long time and finally figured out that if you disconnect the network cable and disable the wireless, that it will then stay on normal. You are able to hook the USB printer cable direct to the computer and it stays running, but that's it. As soon as you plug in a network cable or enable the wireless, even if it's not on the wireless network, it will error out. That tells me there was some sort of HP firmware updates that happened, but I can't find online anyone else with the issue. I have to believe there are more people out there experiencing the same issue. Anyways, I was wondering if you could get that out to your listeners and see if it's just me. I've had so many different anomalies with HP printers, and especially scanned to a network folder, which I know I've talked about many times. If you've run into this, and I'm going to read the error messages right now, weigh in and email me, miketechshow@gmail.com, so we can help out Anthony and everybody else. Error messages. I only had one that showed an error message 79 service error. I looked it up, but nothing helped on it. The other ones will show as a blue screen very fast with B8AFD84A. And then all the lights on the printer will just start blinking. I did try the following also and no joy. Updated the firmware to the newest version and disabled IPv6, which I seen in a post from last November with a similar issue. Thanks again for what you do. This is Anthony. Anthony will try to get you some help. Everybody out there, if you can weigh in on this, I would appreciate it. This is from Kate. I'm still really irritated with Evernote. Upnote is being discussed as an Evernote replacement. So I'm going to give that a try. My concern right now is that it looks really iOS-centric. Probably not a big deal for you, but I'm all Windows and Android. Here's a link to an article that discusses Upnote and 4 other note-taking apps. I'll let you know how it goes. Kate, I am looking forward to your review of that, and does it work? Now, I did a quick look at the description and everything for Upnote, and it looks like you are correct. It was made for the Mac and developed originally for the Mac that then, as a secondary thought, they turned it into a Windows version. So I'm going to be very curious what you think of that from the Windows perspective, because I'm always trying to keep in mind when Evernote, either the old version that I'm using stops working, or they go out of business, or something terrible happens with Evernote, I got to be ready for that next note, because I live and breathe in Evernote. As all my notes for the show, I make them as a PDF and have them on my middle screen here. All right, so Kate, thank you, and I will have a link to UpNote and the 4 other note-taking apps that are recommended. Final emails, and this is from Terry from Arizona, and he heard me talking about the different printer problems and cleaning out the print spooler. He says, you may already have this as a command, a .cmd file. I do. And he put together the command, and this is a very common command that I'm going to display on my screen right now. And hold on a second as I bring it up on my monitor. In the chat, I'm going to put the link to the text file. You would download this text file or cut and paste it. It's basically 4 simple commands: net stop spooler, and then delete the System32 spool printers, the star.shd files, and then a command for the star.spl. You have to stop the print spooler service. Then you jump in and delete those files. Then you restart the service and you net start spool. Then there's the pause command, just so it pauses so you can read any messages that happens. I have that exact script built into a PowerShell script that I have available for my son and I in Synchro, our RMM software. So if I have a client that I'm on the phone with, there's any kind of a print issue, I just remotely send that script and it can clear out the print queue. That solves probably half the printer problems. There are lots of corrupt PDFs. I run into this more with attorneys where they get a PDF that kills their print spooler. For some reason, the one PDF jams things up and they can no longer print. We have to run that. As a matter of fact, I have one client, it happens so often that I've made this a little batch file from their desktop, and they don't even call me anymore. When there's a problem, they click on that and it cleans everything out and it fixes their issue. So I thought, wow, since Terry, thank you, he went to the detail of putting the command file in his Dropbox account and sharing it for me, and I really appreciate that. I've taken it, uploaded it to my website as a text file that will be in the show notes that you will be able to download. If you purchase anything from Amazon, or you know anybody, family, friends, it's a holiday, maybe you're getting a gift card, Amazon, use our link. And I say our link because it's Carrie Holzman and I share an Amazon link, and you can go to the show notes and click on it. But I have a better idea for our Amazon link. Bookmark it. Take the link, bookmark it, so you don't have to come back to our website. And anytime you're going to go to Amazon, use that bookmarked link to go to Amazon, put the items in your cart. When you check out, a small commission comes back that we share. It is the best way to help support the show. I really, really appreciate that. Also, Instant House Call. Go to instanthousecall.com and just download it and test it out. Kick the tires. Use the promo code Mike Tech Show to get your free 15-day trial. And also the incredible software. My son was using this tonight for the client that I talked about with the that was scammed. Once he confirmed that the hard drive was clean, he used that externally, used Fab's Auto Backup 7 Pro to transfer all the files and settings, and successfully did that from the external drive to the new SSD on her laptop. And that works great. The link is in the show notes. You will love it. That is it for tonight's show, everybody. Thank you for downloading and staying subscribed. Please go to my YouTube page, subscribe. It's youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS. And there you'll find all the videos. I'm going to work on later on in the summer. I'm going to try to get all the 2020 videos uploaded. Right now, every video that for every show for 2021 is located on YouTube, Michael Smith MTS. That's it. Thank you. And I will talk to you next time, next week, same channel. Bye-bye.